January is the month most gardeners waste, but wait until you see crop number 18. It produces for 20 years with almost no work, and my 78-year-old neighbor has been harvesting it since 1998. While everyone else is scrolling seed catalogs, you could be starting these 18 crops that will feed your family for a full year. 3 years ago, I made the same mistake you're probably making right now, waiting until spring. That year, my tomatoes didn't ripen until September. My onions were the size of golf balls, and I spent $847 at the grocery store on vegetables I could have grown. January changed everything. If you've ever felt guilty for forgetting to water your plants, this video is your permission slip. The crops I'm about to show you reward your forgetfulness. Let's start with the foundation of your food security. Crop number 1, onions. A single January planting can give you an entire year's supply. Here's the insider secret most people miss. Start from seeds, not sets. Seeds produce bigger bulbs, cost less, and store longer. Sets are convenient, but never reach their full potential. Sow your seeds indoors. Keep them at 65 degrees. When you see the second leaf, prick them out to individual cells with 2-inch spacing. Harden them off gradually before the last frost, then transplant to your garden. The goal: onions ready to harvest in late summer. That will last you until the following year's harvest. Onions need a partner crop. Crop number 2, leeks. Imagine leeks thick as your arm by fall. And here's the best part: they stand in your garden through winter, giving you fresh vegetables when absolutely nothing else is available. The key difference from onions: deep planting for that beautiful white shaft. Use a dibber to make a hole. Drop your seedling in, then just water. No soil fill needed. The soil naturally fills in over time. Onions and leeks together form the foundation of your food security. They store for months and go in every meal. Now let's add some summer flavor. Crop number 3, tomatoes. Start the last week of January. This gives them 8 to 10 weeks of indoor growing time before transplant. The result? You'll be harvesting ripe tomatoes in early summer, while everyone else is still waiting until August. Use seed starting mix. Keep them at 70 degrees during the day, 65 at night. When they outgrow their first pot, move them to 4-inch containers. Harden them off in late spring. But watch the weather. One late frost can undo weeks of work. The next crop has a secret most people never learn. Crop number 4, cauliflower. Here's the secret that separates success from tiny, premature heads. Never let it stop growing. Any growth check, any stress, and you get a disappointment instead of a dinner. Sow in flats, prick out to cold frames, and keep them moving. Continuous sowing every few weeks extends your harvest. Space them 18 inches apart in rich, well-manured soil. Cauliflower fills the gap between spring greens and summer vegetables perfectly. Coming up at crop number 6, the crop I killed 3 times before discovering its weird secret. Stick around. This mistake cost me $200 in failed plants. Crop number 5, lettuce. With a cold frame or unheated greenhouse, you'll be eating fresh salads in early spring, when store lettuce costs $4 a head. The secret? Winter varieties. They tolerate cold and don't bolt when temperatures fluctuate. Sow thinly and barely cover the seeds. They need light to germinate. Thin to 6 inches or harvest as baby greens for salads. You get 2 options: full heads or cut and come again baby greens. Either way, you win. Now, that crop I killed 3 times. Crop number 6, celery. I killed celery 3 times before learning this. It's a marsh plant. The moment I stopped treating it like other vegetables and started drowning it in water, my celery grew thick as my wrist. Most people give up. Don't be most people. Celery needs more water and fertility than any other vegetable. Sow late January. Barely cover the seeds. They need light to germinate. Keep them at 70 degrees and be patient. Germination takes about 3 weeks. Transplant to trenches filled with compost and manure. Then water like you're trying to flood them. You're not. You're giving them exactly what they want. These first 6 crops cover your basic needs from spring through winter. Quick question for you. What's more important, storage crops or fresh greens? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm curious what you're planning for this year. So far, we've covered the foundation: onions, leeks, tomatoes, cauliflower, lettuce, celery. If you start them now instead of waiting, you're already ahead of 90% of gardeners. Now let's talk about heat-loving crops that need the longest head start. Crop number 7, peppers. Peppers are slow in every way. Slow to germinate, slow to grow, slow to fruit. That's exactly why January is essential. They're tropical plants. They want 75 to 80 degrees. Anything less, and they sulk. Here's what most people don't know. If peppers get exposed to temperatures below 50 degrees, even once, they can sulk for weeks. Sometimes they never fully recover. Start them in small pots with maximum light. Transplant after all frost danger is gone. The reward? Peppers from midsummer until first frost, plus enough to dry and freeze for winter. The next crop is even more demanding. Crop number 8, eggplant. Think of eggplant as peppers, but even more heat-loving and even slower. Same instructions as peppers, 75 to 80 degrees. Maximum light. Protect from any cold exposure. The payoff? Ratatouille, baba ganoush, grilled vegetables all summer long. 2 tips that make the difference. Mulch heavily to keep roots warm, and water consistently. Inconsistent watering leads to bitter fruit. Now, the next 4 crops separate serious gardeners from hobbyists. Crop number 9, broad beans, also called fava beans. These are survivors. They handle temperatures down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. In mild climates, sow directly outside in January. In colder areas, start them in a cold frame. The result? Fresh beans in late spring, when nothing else is producing yet. Sow 2 inches deep, 6 inches apart. Double rows work great. Bonus: broad beans fix nitrogen from the air. Leave the roots in the soil after harvest. Free fertilizer for your next crop. Another cold, hardy favorite. Crop number 10, peas. Start them under cloches or cold frames, and you'll be harvesting in late spring. Nothing compares to the taste of fresh peas. They're so sweet, they rarely make it from the garden to the kitchen. Most get eaten standing right next to the plant. Sow 2 inches deep, 2 inches apart. Provide support even for dwarf varieties. They'll thank you with easier harvesting. One unusual tip: soak seeds in kerosene before planting. Mice hate the smell, but it doesn't harm the plants. Crop number 11, spinach. Incredibly cold hardy. Sow outside in January if you're in a mild climate, or use a cold frame anywhere. Spinach gives you fresh greens in early spring. exactly when your body is craving vitamins after a long winter. Unlike lettuce, which is mostly water, spinach delivers wild nutrition, iron, vitamins, minerals. Sow ½ an inch deep, thin to 4 inches. Harvest outer leaves continuously, or cut the entire plant an inch above ground. It often resprouts. Crop number 12, kale. Kale is the perfect forget-about-it crop. Miss a week of watering, it doesn't care. Bad soil, it thrives. Your back hurts and you can't bend down. Just snap off leaves standing up. Kale was made for lazy gardeners like us. One of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Vitamins A, C, K, calcium, antioxidants. Start indoors. Transplant at 4 to 6 inches. Space 18 inches apart. Harvest outer leaves continuously, or cut the whole plant an inch above ground. It resprouts. You can harvest from late spring through the following winter. That's nearly year-round production from one planting. If you've ever paid $5 or more for a head of garlic, hit that like button right now. I know I have, and it still makes me angry. Let's recap. Peppers, eggplant, broad beans, peas, spinach, kale. These form the backbone of a productive garden. They cover your entire growing season, from early spring through late fall. You're not just gardening anymore. You're building a food system. In 6 minutes, I'll show you the crop that turned my $847 grocery bill into $127. Most people skip it. Don't be most people. Crop number 13. Garlic. January is your last chance in mild climates. Fall planting is preferred. It gives bigger bulbs. But January still produces a decent crop. And the savings? Organic garlic costs $5 or more per pound at the store. A single bulb of seed garlic can produce enough to last you all year. Separate the cloves, plant 2 inches deep, 6 inches apart. Pointed end up. Harvest when the lower leaves turn brown. Cure in the shade for a few weeks. Then store in a cool, dry place until spring. Garlic's elegant cousin. Crop number 14. Shallots. Plant them the same way as garlic. But here's what makes shallots special. One bulb multiplies into 6 to 12 bulbs. They're milder and sweeter than onions. And they store even better, often a full year. Space them 6 inches apart, barely covered with just the tips visible. Harvest when the tops die back. Cure like garlic. Shallots elevate any dish from good to restaurant quality. And once you grow them, you'll never buy them again. Now, a crop that rewards advanced techniques. Crop number 15. Rhubarb. January is perfect for forcing, a technique that gives you an early harvest of tender, sweet stalks. Cover your rhubarb crowns with barrels or large pots. Bury the pots under manure and straw. Here's the science. Decomposing manure creates heat. Combined with darkness, this produces pale pink stalks that are more tender and less acidic than normal rhubarb. One warning: forcing weakens the plant. Don't do it every year on the same crown. Rotate between different plants. The result is worth the effort. Rhubarb weeks earlier than anyone else in your neighborhood. Crop number 16. Potatoes. January is chitting season. That's sprouting your seed potatoes before planting. Set them in shallow boxes or egg cartons. Eyes up, in a light but frost-free location. A shed or unheated greenhouse works perfectly. The goal? 1-inch sprouts in 6 to 8 weeks, ready for planting after the last frost. Chitting gives you a several-week head start, which means earlier harvests and higher yields. Use certified disease-free seed potatoes. Keep them in bright light, not direct sun, around 50 degrees. Next is one of the most productive and indestructible crops I know. Crop number 17. Jerusalem Artichokes. This is the ultimate set it and forget it crop. My neighbor planted them in 2019 and hasn't touched them since. He harvests 30 pounds every fall just by digging where they grow. The less you do, the more you get. They produce massive tuber yields with almost no care. And they're perennial. They come back year after year. The main challenge? Keeping them from taking over your garden. That's actually a problem I'd love to have. Plant 4 inches deep, 12 inches apart. They'll grow 8 to 10 feet tall with beautiful yellow sunflower-like blooms. Bonus: leave tubers in the ground after frost. They store perfectly right where they grow, fresher than anything in your refrigerator. And now, the crop I've been teasing since the beginning. Crop number 18. Asparagus. My 78-year-old neighbor planted asparagus in 1998. She's harvested every spring for 26 years. Last week she told me, best $15 I ever spent. That's the kind of investment I'm showing you today. Asparagus is the retirement plan of vegetables. 2 years of patience, then 20 plus years of doing almost nothing. Wake up, snap spears, make breakfast. That's it. That's the whole job. January's is traditional asparagus planting time. Yes, you can't harvest the first 2 years. But after that, you harvest for 20 years or more with minimal maintenance. In stores, asparagus costs $8 to $12 per pound. A well-maintained bed saves you hundreds every year. Here's how. Dig a trench 8 inches deep, 12 inches wide. Create a ridge down the center. Spread the crowns over the ridge. Drape the roots down both sides. Cover with just 2 inches of soil initially. As spears grow, gradually fill the trench. Let the ferny foliage grow all summer. It feeds the roots for next year's harvest. Mulch heavily. Be patient. Your patience will be rewarded for decades. Which of these 18 crops are you starting this January? Drop your plan in the comments. I read every single one, and I'd love to see what you're growing. Here's the philosophy that changed my gardening. January isn't for waiting. It's for planting. Every week you delay is a week less growing time. And time is the one thing you can't get back. While your neighbors watch TV and dream about summer, you could be sowing seeds while there's still snow on the ground, chitting potatoes, forcing rhubarb. That's the difference between gardeners who talk about self-sufficiency and gardeners who achieve it. Here's your homework, and I mean today, not someday. Pick 3 crops from this list, just 3. Order the seeds today. By February, you'll have seedlings growing. By summer, you'll be harvesting. By this time next year, you'll wonder why you ever waited until spring. Remember my $847 grocery store lesson? That was 1 year of waiting. 1 year of, I'll start next month. Don't let January be your wasted month. Let it be your turning point. If you want more January gardening strategies, hit that subscribe button. I post new videos every week. Thanks for watching. Now go plant something. Happy gardening.